It's almost 12 noon, shortly after the close of our last episode, when Perry Mason made what could be, a vitally important discovery. Now, in the huge basement of the police crime laboratory.
Okay, now hoist it up and take it easy.
Oh, there's Lieutenant Halverson, Bella.
Got on coveralls. What are they doing, Chief?
They're lifting the engine out of that
Easy,
car.
will you take it easy?
Oh, boy, that car has been in some wreck.
It's probably Pete Watten's car.
Who? Oh, the syndicate man who was killed last
All right,
night.
now swing it over on the block and take it easy. All right, that's it. Now let it down. That's the way. Okay, boys, let's tear it down.
Oh, Halverson.
Huh? Oh, I'll be with you guys in a second. Hello, Mason. Miss Street.
Let's go where we can talk privately, Halverson. I don't want to attract attention.
There's no one in here but authorized personnel, and I should supervise the job. All right, Mason, whatever you say. There's a little office we can use. Good.
That, Pete Watten's car?
Uh-huh. We think it's a stolen car. Now we're trying to identify it.
Serial numbers?
It's been restamped and the crystalline structure's changed. In here.
Mm-hmm.
The experimental model.
Explain some other time, Halverson. We've got to get busy.
Look, I've been busy all night and all morning. All right, I'm listening, Mason, but take it slow, will you? I'm just a little bit tired.
Oh. Well, then sit down, Don. Here, by the telephone.
Oh, this is okay.
No, by the telephone, because you're going to use it.
What for?
To call off your canvass of physicians in this area.
I asked you to take it slow, Mason.
All right, Don. I know you've been working hard. Here's the outline. I spoke with Howard Doyle, the man who saw Sue Barkley after her quarrel with Gus. He saw her just before she went into hiding. You with me?
Yep.
All right. Doyle lectures at a college in Smithville. It's about 100 miles upstate.
All right, I'm with you to Smithville.
Okay. Now, from certain remarks Suzanne made to Doyle, there's a strong indication that Suzanne Barkley went to Smithville.
Well, that's a real break. It's a little town, not more than a dozen doctors. She had to have medical treatment. Congratulations, Mason. What's your secret?
What?
Well, I pound my feet all night, ask questions till my throat's raw, and come in here, work like a grease monkey, and boom, Mason comes up with what could be the answer.
Well,
now,
Lieutenant,
just a minute, Miss Street. Look, I don't care who comes up with the answer. All I want is to get my hands on Gus, and I'll blow the syndicate wide open.
Okay, there's the phone, Halverson.
Are you serious, Mason?
Well, of course.
Look, I said maybe you found the answer. Maybe she went to Smithville, but we don't know that she did.
Well, we have a strong indication.
Why call off what we're doing here? We're ready to send out another 1,000 circulars today. Maybe they're already gone.
Well, stop them, Halverson.
Why?
If it isn't too late, stop them.
Why?
Halverson, you've always agreed that we should work in secrecy.
All right.
And after her decision,
Yes?
if he should learn that the police are making renewed efforts to find her, it will put new pressure on him to find her first. Now, you know what would happen to Suzanne if he does find her before we do.
Mason, the circulars plainly state that it's a highly confidential matter. Here, I've got one with
I've
me.
seen one, Don.
Our physicians are trustworthy people. Say there's a chance that one does spill the beans. It's a chance we've always taken.
And it was worth it before we had a definite lead.
It's not definite enough.
What?
I can't see calling off what we're doing here. Not on the strength of what you've learned. I just don't get it, Mason. The risk is the same as when we started.
No, Halverson, no. It's greater every day. Every day that you follow up on the physicians in this city, more people know you're making renewed efforts to locate Sue Barkley.
Are you talking about my organization, Mason?
What? Oh, no, not your men, Lieutenant, but there is no telling who might see one of those circulars. The syndicate is big, Halverson. We're just learning how big. It's bossed by someone with a brilliant criminal brain, a man who would instantly know what those circulars mean. Are you going to call them in?
Now, look, I've always cooperated with you.
You're going to call them in?
No one is right all the time.
Yes or no, Halverson?
Mason, I can't agree with you. Now, naturally, I'll follow up on the Smithville answer.
No, don't bother. I'll turn it over to Drake.
Well, Okay, Mason.
Let's go, Della.
Mason?
Yes. This is more important than... I hope that you're right, Lieutenant.
You could go to the commissioner, Chief.
No. Halverson is a good cop, Della. He has earned the right to his opinion.
He's as stubborn as a mule.
Which is one reason that he's a good cop.
Well,
Okay, we'll put Paul to work in Smithville. Keep our fingers crossed that Halverson is right and I'm wrong.
Well, as you know, J.T. Doherty, secret boss of the syndicate, is a brilliant criminal. The hidden tentacles of his crime syndicate reach in many directions. But though J.T. is absolute boss of a huge and complex enterprise, J.T. is a great organizer. The syndicate functions smoothly, leaving J.T. Doherty ample time for his personal concerns. Time, for instance, to devote the afternoon on a visit to his physician. J.T. set aside a complete afternoon because, before visiting his physician, his barber carefully shaved him and trimmed his hair. The manicurist spent much time making his nails exquisite. And now, as J.T. enters the office of Dr. Dell, waits patiently as the doctor files a note on a previous patient.
Be with you in a moment, Mr. Doherty.
Take all the time you need, Doctor. I know your time's valuable.
Which reminds me, your secretary made an error on my last statement. My statement was for $400. You sent a check for $1,000.
No mistake, Doctor. I intended you to have it.
Mr. Doherty, I charge the outrageous fees to those who can well afford it. I balance off by undercharging those of modest means. I prefer using my own discretion in the matter.
Oh, of course, Doctor. Well, now, don't look so severe, young lady. Don't mar that lovely face with wrinkles.
What?
I was going to suggest use the excess for whatever purpose you choose, my dear. You're thinking of establishing a clinic, aren't you?
Thinking of it. How did you know?
Oh, I learned many things. When you decide to open your clinic, you may count on me for a substantial donation. I have a great admiration and respect for a young woman who devotes her life to helping others. You'll call on me?
We'll see. Step on the scales, Mr. Doherty.
Oh, I've lost a great deal of weight, my dear. I've followed the diet faithfully. I merely want to assure you I'm following your regimen.
Just step on the scales, Mr. Doherty.
Very well, Doctor. This is rather a heavy suit, you understand. Perhaps I should...
You've gained 10 pounds.
10? Well, surely there's a mistake.
Unbutton your shirt, please. I want to listen to your heart.
Very well. I really can't understand how I gained weight. I followed the diet faithfully.
Deep breath.
It must be glandular, Doctor. Really, I eat very little, but everything I eat turns to fat.
Your heart is sound as a dollar.
It's glandular, I'm sure.
Don't say that again, Mr. Doherty. You eat like a glutton.
What did you say?
And don't tell me you followed the diet.
You're calling me a liar, aren't you? You wouldn't believe this, but there are men who wouldn't dream of calling me a liar.
No, don't sit down, Mr. Doherty. I won't waste more time with you.
What?
Go to someone else with more time to spare. You've no intention of following my directions.
Now, please, Doctor, just a moment.
And no time to talk further. Yes? Yes, it's here on my desk. Just a moment. Good day, Mr. Doherty.
Well, surely you've time to explain why you won't give me another chance.
Are you going to follow in directions?
Why, yes.
Used to getting your own way, aren't you? All right, just a moment. Yes, Miss Reed. I've the police circular on my desk. The girl they're looking for is Suzanne Barkley.
Huh?
Suzanne Barkley. Did you examine the files for late November and early... No, neither do I. It's a good photograph. I'd certainly remember. Yes, send in a negative, please. All right, Mr. Doherty. Mr. Doherty.
Changed my mind, Doctor. Good day, nurse.
Even if Lieutenant Halverson had given ear to Perry Mason's warning, he might not have been in time. It doesn't matter now. Now the thing Perry Mason feared has happened. Now J.T. knows the police are making new efforts to locate Suzanne Barkley. What do you think is going to happen? You'll join us on Monday, won't you?
Hello. Oh, Gordy, is Gus Jensen there? Where is he? No, thanks. I'll send Albert after him. Huh? Trouble? A small wrinkle, Gordon. A small wrinkle. I'm going to iron it out. Yeah, thank you, Gordy. Send Albert Dollar in.
You sent for me, Mr. Doherty?
Yes, Albert. I want you to bring August Jansen to the garage.
Bring him, Mr. Doherty?
Bring him, Albert. Mr. Jansen is on the way to his apartment. I suggest you get there first and be waiting. Can you let yourself in?
Yes, sir.
Let yourself in without breaking the lock. Mr. Jansen won't go through the door if he sees you've tampered with the lock.
Oh, I can do it, Mr. Doherty. I'm real smart when it comes to mechanical things, but I'm real dumb about other things.
So?
Well, if you tell me to bring Mr. Jansen to the garage, I'll bring him.
Which is why I gave you the job.
Yes, sir. I'll bring him. But Mr. Jansen's smart. He's a lot smarter than me. He might try to get away. And there's something else.
Well?
I'm awful strong, Mr. Doherty, and I'm dumb. So if Mr. Jansen tries to get away, I might have to hurt him. I'm awful strong, Mr. Doherty.
That's all right, Albert. If he tries to get away, you stop him.
Even if I have to hurt him?
So long as you stop him. You understand me, Albert? I don't care if you stop him cold.
As you just heard, J.T. is moving quickly to protect himself and his crime syndicate. But as we're about to learn, Perry Mason is also taking quick action. Because in the lawyer's office...
Oh, there's Paul now, Chief.
Sit still. I'll let him in.
Hello, beautiful. Oh, it's you, Perry. Hi, Adela.
Hi.
Excuse me, Perry, but I gotta sit down.
What, are you sick, Paul?
Yeah, I just left the ticket brokers.
What?
I got a date with Dodo. Jody wants to see that new musical, so I got tickets and I paid through the nose.
Oh. Mm-hmm. You plan on going tonight?
Uh-huh. You want to know how much the ticket set me back?
No, not particularly.
Sure glad you got a job for me.
I'm glad you're glad, Paul.
Here you are. Here's the list, Perry.
So give it to Paul.
Huh? List of doctors.
Yes, in the town of Smithville.
Smithville. Well, that's upstate.
Yes. We think Suzanne Barkley went to Smithville when she ran away. Wherever she went, she had to have medical treatment for her hand. Della and I are going to question as many physicians as we can reach by long distance.
Then why give me a list?
Paul, do me a big favor, will you? Stop thinking about Dodie, please.
Well, it's asking a lot. Yeah?
Look, Smithville is a good-sized town with 15 or 20 physicians at least. Now, I can reach some of them by phone, but not all. The ones out on emergency cases or at the club.
Yeah, I get it.
So you hop up to Smithville, phone me the minute you get there. I'll tell you which doctors we have contacted and which ones we didn't. Chances are I'll have spoken to our man. But if I haven't, you will be on the scene and you can track down the others without wasting a second.
Swell. I'll take off first thing in the morning. Perry. Not now. Don't tell me I gotta leave tonight. Perry.
Excuse me. Hello? Yes, put him on, Goody. Thank you. Oh, yes, I'm calling for Mr. Drake. Have his car serviced, will you please? Gas, oil, water, tires, so forth. Mr. Drake is going on a trip, and he's leaving immediately.
No.
Yes, Gertie?
I'm going to leave a little bit early, Della.
Are you sick, Gertie?
Me? I never felt better in my life. My girlfriend and I are going to the movies. We're going to High Theater before supper, and then we're going to have supper, and then we're going to the movie at the Tivoli after supper.
You, just going to one movie after supper?
Well, it's a double feature at the Tivoli.
Gertie, I really hate to tell you this, but...
Just a minute, Perry. Let me do it. Gertie,
Yes, Mr. Drake.
I was going to the theater tonight myself.
You want to go with me and my girlfriend?
No, thank you. I've got a date, but I'm going to break it, just as you're going to break your date.
Oh, I haven't got a date. I'm going with my girlfriend.
Not tonight, dear. I've got news for you. Mr. Mason's going to make 15 or 20 long-distance calls tonight. He'll need you on the switchboard.
Oh, really, Mr. Mason?
Well, you can't help, Gertie, if you won't be too disappointed.
Oh, what do I care? They have movies every night. That's the way you should feel, Mr. Drake. Just go to the theater another night.
Gertie, I was going to a musical. I was going to pay... Oh, never mind.
What's the matter with him?
He had a date with Dodo.
Oh.
Yeah, very funny.
As you know, Perry Mason must find Suzanne Barkley in order to learn the identity of Gus. Well, at this moment, Gus Jansen doesn't suspect a thing is wrong. In fact, Gus Jansen is very well satisfied with himself as he walks jauntily to his apartment.
I don't remember leaving the curtains drawn.
Was me, Mr. Jansen. I closed them.
Albert!
Hello, Mr. Jansen.
Albert, how did you get in here?
I didn't have any trouble. I hope I don't have any trouble now, Mr. Jansen.
Trouble?
Mr. Doherty wants to see you.
And?
It's all, Mr. Jansen. He wants to see you.
Oh, no, Albert, there's got to be more. Why didn't J.T. phone or just send word?
He wants to see you awful bad, Mr. Jansen. He sent me to make sure he'd get to see you.
What's the rumble, Albert?
I don't know.
What did he say? He must have said something.
No, sir. Just, he wants to see you. Let's go, Mr. Jansen.
Wait a minute, Albert. Look, I want to see J.T., too.
Yeah, Mr. Jansen?
In fact, I'm eager to see him. That's a coincidence, huh? I was just going to see him, only... Well, I've got to do something else first. Something for J.T.
Mr. Jansen.
Something J.T. asked me to do. You understand? I've got to do what he asked me, and then I'll see him. Look, you want to wait here for me? Why don't you do that, Albert? You wait right here, only a few minutes, you understand, and just until I do what J.T. asked me to do. Yeah, hey, look what I got in the portable bar. There, you can help yourself, Albert. I'm warning you. I know how many bottles there are, and I'll count them when I get back. Here you are, Albert. There's scotch, brandy, bourbon, Irish beer if you want it. You won't buy it, huh?
I'm sorry, Mr. Jansen. I gotta take you.
What's it all about?
I don't know.
Well, just give me an idea so I can set myself. Give me a break, Albert. I've always been a friend to you.
Yes, sir. But I don't know a thing. Except it's trouble. I figured you were smart enough to figure it out. You're real smart.
Could be a dozen things. Albert, I gave you a break.
And I try to help you, Mr. Jansen.
What?
I'm dumb. I'm awful dumb. But I could feel trouble coming. I couldn't figure it out, but I could feel it. I hate to say I told you so, but I did tell you, Mr. Jansen. You remember when I told you?
Yeah.
You're smart. Couldn't you see it coming?
No, Albert.
It's here. We gotta get going, Mr. Jansen. And, Mr. Jansen, I told Mr. Doherty you might try something. I told him I might have to hurt you to stop you.
What did he say to that?
He said, I don't care if you stop him cold, Albert.
Such as bad as that, huh?
Yeah. But you're smart, Mr. Jansen. Everybody says you're awful smart. Maybe you can figure something. I hope you do.
Wishing me luck, Albert?
Yes, sir.
I'll need it.
Yes, sir. You'll need it. It's time to go, Mr. Jansen.
Yes, Gus Jansen's in trouble. He'll learn just how serious it is when he sees J.T. You know, there'll be important developments and exciting action in the immediate future. So by all means, join us tomorrow, won't you? It's early evening, shortly after the close of our last episode, as Paul Drake snaps on the headlights of his sedan, then settles down, none too happily, for his drive to the town of Smithville. As in another car on another street here in the city, Gus Jansen rides silently beside Albert Dallow, tries desperately to guess the reason for his ominous summons to J.T. Meanwhile, in the office of Attorney Perry Mason...
Yes, Doctor. Well, it would have been the 29th or 30th of October.
Yes, all right,
Miss Barkley's left
Yes,
hand
I'm
was
ready for
cut
the next one.
severely. Oh, she did have emergency
Dr.
treatment
Byron?
here, but we believe she went to
My name is
Smithville, where
Perry
she visited a
Mason.
physician.
I'm an attorney, Doctor. We're trying to locate a young woman named Miss Suzanne Barkley. Well, we believe that she left this city on the night of October 28th and went to Smithville,
No.
where she had medical treatment.
No, I don't think so, Doctor.
No, she would not have used her real name.
Yes.
That's... Oh, I see.
Yes.
Oh, very well, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Huh? You?
He was at a medical convention. You?
Nope.
Oh, how do we stand?
Well, of the 19 physicians in Smithville, we've spoken to 11. That leaves 8. 4 of the 8 are out of town or otherwise not available until tomorrow morning. It's a good thing you sent Paul Drake up there, anyhow. We've only 4 more calls to make, Chief. Oh, hooray, we eat.
What?
Eat! Sandwiches. I ordered some sandwiches. Thank you very much, Harold. Ham sandwich okay? And French fries? And coffee?
I suppose we eat before making the rest of the call. Gertie, wait a few minutes before putting any more calls to Smithville. You what? I can't understand you, Gertie. Stop chewing. Gertie says to tell you that her sandwich is delicious.
So's mine. Gertie? Did Mr. Mason ask you not... Who? Oh, just a second, I'll see. Lieutenant Halverson's outside, Chief.
Oh. Well, send him in.
Ask him to come in, Gertie. You got enough mustard?
Yeah.
Hello, Miss Street. Good evening, Mason.
Hi, Lieutenant. Have some potatoes.
No, thanks.
Oh, aren't you hungry?
Not now.
What spoiled your appetite, Halverson?
I came to tell you I was wrong and you were right. When you learned the girl probably went to Smithville, I should have stopped checking the physicians in this city. I couldn't see it at first. Now I agree with you. I've called my men off. I can be pig-headed, Mason, but I can also change my mind.
Okay. So have some of Della's potatoes.
You're not sure?
No, we had a difference of opinion, that's all.
Let me try one of those French fries, Miss Street.
Help yourself.
Are you, following up in Smithville?
Della and I have been phoning the doctors. Suzanne Barkley had to have medical treatment for her hand.
We've spoken to over half of them already.
Well, you probably won't reach all of them by phone.
Well, I sent Paul Drake to Smithville.
He's on his way now.
Paul will check back with me when he arrives. In case I don't speak with our man, I'll give Paul the list and he'll follow up.
I see. You gonna eat all those potatoes, Miss Street?
You can have a few more.
Good potatoes, you know. Is there anything I can do, Mason?
Well, we have 4 more calls to make. Any one of them could be our man. There'll be plenty you can do once we find him.
How's the mother taking it?
Well, she's a brave woman, Don, but she loves her daughter. She knows that Suzanne is mortally afraid of Gus, and that Gus is trying to find Suzanne.
We're ahead of Gus.
Knock on wood, Lieutenant.
Well, let's try to stay ahead, huh?
I get the hint, Chief. Gertie, we're all ready for those calls now.
But meanwhile, as Albert Dallow follows Gus Jansen into the syndicate's garage.
Hello, J.T.
Hello, August.
You want me to stay?
Yes, Albert, just stand where you are for the moment.
Oh, you're looking great, J.T.
Thank you, August.
Albert says you want to see me.
I do.
Well, what's wrong, J.T.? What's the trouble?
No, there's no real trouble, August. I went to my physician today.
What?
I had an appointment with the doctor.
Doctor? So that's...
No, that amuses you, August?
Well, I'm sorry the doctor gave you bad news, J.T. Sorry as I can be, but I thought it was something else when you said Albert to get me. I thought something was wrong.
Did you, August?
Well, I thought you were angry with me for something.
Oh, I'm not angry, my boy.
Oh, I don't mind telling you, that's a load off my mind. What is the trouble, J.T.? Doctor says you've got to go away for a rest?
Well, no, my boy, I don't have to go away. My doctor is a woman, a very attractive woman. She found me in excellent health.
Oh, that's just fine, J.T.
Huh? It pleases you, huh?
Yeah. What's the rumble, J.T.? Well, you're going to tell me what's wrong?
Why, nothing. At least nothing serious, nothing I can't easily correct. Guess what I happen to see on my doctor's desk? A little thing. A police circular. And can you Guess whose photograph was on the circular?
No.
Suzanne Barclay's photograph. Remember Suzanne Barclay, August?
Yes, of course.
I thought you would, my boy. You see what this means, August?
It doesn't have to mean anything.
The girl disappeared months ago.
Well, sure, but she comes from an important family, so the police are going to keep looking for her.
You fool. They've made new progress. They've learned her hand was injured. They're making renewed efforts.
J.T., listen.
And they must have located her already, but don't let it disturb you, my boy, because there's nothing wrong, August.
Keep away from me, J.T.
Nothing wrong that can't easily be corrected.
I'm warning you, J.T., I'm not going to let you slap me around.
Albert.
Turn loose of me, Albert. Take your hands off.
Yeah, that's it. Now, just hold it.
Albert, listen. I was always your friend. I even got your job back.
I'm going to do what Mr. Doherty tells me.
And your friend, Albert.
Yes, sir, but if I don't do what he says, I'll lose my job in the machine shop. I ain't going to turn you loose.
J.T., listen.
To what, August? I did listen. You said the girl could not be found.
They haven't found her.
They're on her trail.
They're going off half-cocked, J.T. Just think.
I have thought. And it's very simple. If they find her, the girl will identify you. And you, in turn, could expose me and others. Now, the big fellow won't stand for that, August. He says, you know what he always says, Albert, eliminate little troubles before they get big enough to plague you.
J.T.
Don't worry about a thing, my boy.
J.T., you got to listen.
August, I always liked you. I gave you a second chance against my better judgment. And now, I'm disappointed, I'll admit. Comes like a slap in the face. Like a slap in the face, August.
Stop it.
But there's absolutely nothing wrong, my boy. Well, they'll find her, and she'll talk, August. Oh, my, yes, she'll talk. But when the police find you, you won't talk, my boy. You won't say a word, not a word. That's why there's nothing wrong, and why I'm not upset in the least, even though it has come like a slap in the face. I trusted you, August. I gave you every chance. Albert, I don't want to see him anymore.
Well, as you know, Perry Mason is searching for Sue Barclay in order to learn Gus's identity. Now, it looks as if Gus will be out of reach, even if Mason does find Suzanne. At least, so it looks now. But join us tomorrow, won't you?
As you know, before Perry Mason can smash the huge crime syndicate, he must locate a lovely young girl who is hiding in terror. Suzanne Barclay, who can give Mason the true identity of Gus, key member of the syndicate. And as you know, once Mason learns Gus is actually August Jansen, he'll learn the answers to a lot of important questions. But unknown to Perry Mason at this very moment, Gus is in mortal peril. It's immediately after the close of our last episode, as J.T. Doherty, secret boss of the syndicate, says,
Albert?
Yes, sir, Mr. Doherty.
Take him out the back way.
Yes, sir.
J.T.
Don't speak to me again. I don't want to hear your voice or see your face again. Albert, you understand what I mean? I don't want to see or hear his voice again. Now, go ahead, Albert.
I really hate to do this, Mr. Jansen. Hey, come back here, Mr. Jansen.
J.T., listen to me now. You're sticking your own head in the noose.
Back in the corner, Albert.
But there's something you haven't thought of, J.T. Getting rid of me will only make room for you.
I got him,
J.T.
Albert.
I got him now, Mr. Doherty. I'll just put him to sleep.
Wait, Albert.
Huh?
Are you stalling all this?
I might be, but I'm not. The nightclub in the garage means a lot to you, J.T. The organization means a lot.
Yeah, so?
Get rid of me and you'll have to get rid of it. Once Suzanne tells who I am, it'll blow the whole thing wide open.
You will disappear.
Yes. The cops will look for me. And when they don't find me, they'll come out in the open. They'll smear it in every paper in the country, and when they do, people are going to start remembering.
Remember what?
Me. They'll remember seeing me at the club.
Perry Mason saw me at the club. Mason. 100 people. And they're going to tell the cops, and the cops are smart enough to add 2 and 2.
No argument?
They're smart enough to add Gus Jansen to the nightclub and come up with answers you and the big fellow won't like. You'll have to close the club. That kicks your plans for Kate Beekman out the window. You'll have to take care of Gordy, and that'll leave you without a straw boss. You'll have to pack in the racket, which means breaking up the organization and throwing you 2 years behind schedule. Get wise, J.T. Get rid of me and you just start your troubles.
I'm not a fool, August. I'm aware of the complications, but there's no other way.
Yes, there is, J.T. A simple, easy way to solve all our problems. Fix it so Suzanne Barkley doesn't talk to the cops.
How?
Well, the cops are ahead of us now. There's no getting around it. Okay, we'll have to leapfrog them. Get ahead of them.
All right. How?
There's a way. There's got to be a way.
And you've thought of it?
Yeah.
Good. Why don't you tell me?
Just a second. Got a cigarette, Albert?
Okay, Mr. Doherty.
Yes. Give him a cigarette.
Here.
Now, let's see. I've got it, J.T. Let's use the police. How does that sound?
All right, so far. How?
Well, let's find out what they've got. Let's learn exactly how far along they are, and then beat them to the punch.
I thought of it.
Oh, you've tried?
Yes. My contact isn't able to learn a thing. The police have nailed the lid on.
Oh, your contact. J.T., we haven't tried mine. I know a girl, communications clerk.
A dear personal friend?
Well, not exactly, not anymore. We used to be dear friends, but she was starting to make trouble, so I brushed her off. But you like this, J.T.
Tell me, August.
She's married now. She's married a fine, hard-working guy. He works at night. There's just this one thing about him, J.T. He's very jealous. Can you imagine?
Yeah, we all have our failings, August.
Well, her husband is jealous, and just so happens I've got a photograph. It was taken when his wife and I were good friends. She'll do anything to keep me from showing it to her husband.
You're a cad, August. An unprincipled cad. You're going to phone her now?
I'll just drop in and surprise her. Her husband works at night.
Yeah, very well, my boy. August, I want to make a confession. I wasn't really going to get rid of you.
You weren't?
No. I have a tremendous respect and admiration for your intelligence, August. Now, I was faced with a problem. I was positive you'd give me the solution, so I merely applied a little pressure.
Just a little pressure.
Yeah, that's all. I fooled you, didn't I?
Yeah, you fooled me.
Why, I have a very deep personal affection for you, August. I wouldn't let anything happen to you.
You're a complicated guy, J.T.
Me? Oh, I'm as plain as an old shoe.
Well, it could be like you say. Or it could be you don't want me to have any hard feelings. I'll have the dope in a couple of hours. Meet you here?
No. Now, come to my place.
Right. Where do you think you're going, Albert?
I'm going with you, Mr. Jansen.
J.T. didn't tell you to walk behind me?
No, sir.
Did you hear J.T. say he was only kidding?
I heard what he said, but I'm awful dumb. I get mixed up when I listen to what people say. I just go by how it feels to me. It feels like Mr. Doherty wants me to go with you.
That's right, Albert. I'll go with him, just in case he runs into difficulties. I'm so fond of August. As I say, I won't let anything happen to him, so go with him, Albert. Stay with him. I'm depending on you to return with the information, August.
Yeah. Okay, Albert.
After you, Mr. Jansen.
You dummy.
I know I'm dumb, Mr. Jansen.
Yeah, sometimes I think you're twice as smart as I am. Now, don't stop to figure it out. Just get a move on.
Now, a short time later, in the home of Suzanne Barclay's mother.
Oh, it was kind of you to come, Mr. Mason. I was just having tea. Can I offer you some?
No, thank you.
No, thank you, Mrs. Barkley. We had sandwiches earlier, and I know you're very anxious to know of our progress.
Mr. Mason, you haven't found Suzanne. If you had found her, you'd have told me. But you said progress. I'm certain I heard you say...
Yes, sit down, Mrs. Barkley.
Did you?
Yes. Our first definite lead. And I'm sorry, before I can tell you the details, I must warn you we have to maintain the utmost secrecy. And you know why.
Yes. That man who frightened Suzanne away.
And who is still searching for her.
I won't say a word, Mr. Mason. Won't you tell me now?
Do you know the town of Smithville?
Yes. It's upstate, isn't it?
Yes, it's really a small city. Well, we have reason to believe Suzanne went to Smithville when she ran away.
Mr. Mason.
And if she did, she must have gone to a physician for treatment for her injured hand.
Yes.
Well, we'll know tomorrow morning. I have sent a man up there to interview the doctors. He's driving up tonight. He'll phone me from Smithville when he arrives. I'll tell him which doctors I was not able to reach by phone, and then he can go to work.
Pardon me, Mr. Mason. This must be my brother.
Yes.
Donald? Yes? This is the Barkley residence. Whom did you... Oh, just a moment. It's for you, Mr. Mason, some detective agency.
The Drake Agency?
Why, yes, I believe it was.
Hello, Mason speaking. Where? Mm-hmm. All right, give me the name of the town, name of the hospital.
Hospital?
Yes, that's right, at once. And I'll advise you. Paul Drake was in a traffic accident. A child on a bicycle ran in front of him. He swerved.
Harry, is this...
He's in a hospital, hasn't regained consciousness.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Mason, but it won't have any effect on the search for my daughter.
What? Oh, well, I don't see any connection, Mrs. Barkley. However, well, you'll excuse me, I'm sure. And don't worry. I'll follow up in Smithville if I have to do it myself. Let's go down.
Perry Mason has no reason to suppose his friend's accident will have a bearing on the search for Suzanne Barkley. It's too bad Perry can't see the events of the immediate future. For if he could, heartache and tragedy and danger might be avoided. Be sure to hear tomorrow's important development.
No, my dear, the policeman's life is not a happy one. Oh, excuse me. Lieutenant Halverson. Oh, yes, Miss Street. Mr. Mason wants to see me? Is there trouble? In the corridor. Oh, yes, matter of fact, I had, yes. Of course. Right away. I'll be back in a minute, Thelma.
Okay.
Mr. Mason?
Yes. Hello, Don.
The street just called. Told me you were here.
Mm-hmm. Are you alone?
I've got a date, but we can talk here.
All right. Listen, Paul Drake was on his way to Smithville. You knew that.
Yeah, to find the doctor who treated Suzanne Barkley. You say was on the way.
Paul had an accident about 50 miles up the road.
Did he get hurt?
Yes.
Sad?
We don't know. He hasn't regained consciousness. He suffered a head injury.
Oh, great.
But he may regain consciousness at any time. He may start talking. And if he starts talking about the syndicate and the possibility of Suzanne Barkley's being in Smithville, and if the local newspapers get wind of what he's working on...
Yeah, I get you, Mason.
And it'll be a couple of hours before I can get there. Now, if you contact the Ellington police...
That where he is?
Yes. He's in Ellington Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you get the Ellington authorities to post a guard on his room and warn the doctors and nurses not to repeat anything that he might say?
Sure. They'll cooperate.
Good. Well, then that's that.
Are you going up there?
Yes, Sal and I are leaving now.
Now, don't burn up the roads, Mason. And if Drake's okay, give him my best.
Yes, I will.
Be with you in a second, Thelma. I have to make a long-distance call.
Okay.
I want to speak to the police department in Ellington.
It's a good thing Perry Mason is making every effort to preserve secrecy. Because J.T. Doherty, boss of the huge crime syndicate, is making every effort to break the secrecy. At the very moment, August Jansen, J.T.'s lieutenant, enters a modest apartment building.
Is it this her apartment, Mr. Jansen?
Yeah, you wait here, Albert.
What if her husband's at home, Mr. Jansen?
He isn't. Mr. Slack's a hard-working young man. He works at night. Wait out here for me, Albert.
Mr. Doherty told me to stay with you.
Listen, Albert. Vicky will tell me what she knows, but I'll have to remind her of a couple of things first.
I don't understand, Mr. Jansen. You know I'm awful dumb.
Albert, Mrs. Slack is employed at the police communications office.
Uh-huh.
I've known Mrs. Slack for a long time. I used to know her before she was Mrs. Slack. I know a way to get her to talk, but she'll never talk in front of a third party.
Oh.
I won't run away, Albert. I couldn't if I wanted to because there's no back exit. Now wait out here in the hall.
Well, okay, Mr. Jansen.
Just a minute. Yes,
Hello, Vicky.
August Jensen. Go away.
Vicky.
Go away. Oh, please go away, Gus. You promised.
I want to talk to you, Vicky. Take the chain off the door.
No.
And I'll stand out here and yell at you. What would your neighbors think of that? Vicky? Now, be reasonable. Let me in so we can talk privately.
What do you want?
Just talk. That's all, Vicky. Shall I close the door?
Yes, close it.
My dear, you haven't changed a bit. You're as pretty as ever.
What do you want?
You've got a nice little home here. I'm very happy for you, Vicky.
Gus, please go away.
I've never met your husband, but I'm sure he's a fine young man.
He is.
And fortunate. Does he realize how fortunate he is, Vicky?
What?
Or, did you tell him about you and me?
I couldn't. I wanted to forget. I never wanted to think of you or see you again. Oh, Gus, why did you come back? Why couldn't you let me alone?
Vicky, you're crying. Oh, very well, my dear. We'll stop talking about old times.
What do you want?
Information. Now, can you listen, my dear? The police have been searching for a young lady for months. The young lady disappeared in October. Until recently, the police got nowhere. But in the last day or so, they got a new lead. I want to know what they've learned, what progress they've made. If you aren't familiar with the details, I want you to get them for me. Now, don't shake your head, Vicky. You'll do what I ask.
But I can't.
Vicky, I can't force you to get the information. If you won't, well, that's all there is to it. You won't. I'll tell you what I can do.
Oh, Gus, please.
You know what I have in my safety deposit box, Vicky? Can you guess? Remember that photograph of you and me, Vicky? Oh, I'm sure you remember.
Gus, I don't work there anymore.
What?
I haven't worked there for 2 months. Oh, Gus, I'd give you what you want if I could. I'll do anything to keep my husband from finding out. Oh, please, Gus, please don't tell him.
Shut up.
Oh, promise you won't let him. Don't. Let me.
Shut up. You got a gun in there.
No.
Then show me the back way. Is there a fire escape or something?
There's a flight of stairs from the back stoop.
Is there an alley in back?
Yes. Oh, Gus, please promise me that you won't.
Maybe I want you to do exactly what I say. Go back in your living room, move around, talk, laugh. There's a guy waiting for me out in the hall. I don't want him to know I've gone. Do you understand? Now, quit laughing. Get back in there. It's very dark. I don't see anybody. Albert's too dumb to think of me going out the back way. Probably wait in the hall till midnight. Give me a 3 or 4 hour start. Don't see anybody. It's time I got a break.
Your car is back the other way, Mr. Jansen. You okay, Mr. Jansen?
What?
You look sick.
Sick, Albert. You surprised me, that's all. Just tell me something, will you?
Yes, sir, if I can.
What made you come out here in the alley?
Oh, well, I'm awful dumb, Mr. Jansen. But if nobody bothers me, I can figure some things out. Nobody bothered me out in the hall, so I got to thinking, Mr. Doherty's going to be awful disappointed if you don't get the information. You know what's going to happen to you, Mr. Jansen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm dumb, but I figured if Mr. Jansen does get the information, he won't object to going back to Mr. Doherty. But I figured if you didn't get the information, you'd try to sneak away. I don't blame you, Mr. Jansen. I wish I didn't have to take you back.
You could give me a break, Albert.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jansen. You care if I say something, Mr. Jansen?
You're a character, Albert. A real character.
Then I can say it.
What?
Well, you and Mr. Doherty are smart men. Real smart. I got a great respect for men with brains. I know I'm dumb and... Well, I noticed something funny. I notice sometimes a real smart man kind of gets in his own way. For instance, you and Mr. Doherty want some information. You're going to a lot of trouble. You've been smart about it, but you haven't got what you want. So I was going to suggest, if you want something, wait, just ask for it.
What did you say, Albert?
Yeah. It's a dumb idea. I'm sorry I said it.
Just ask for it.
Huh?
Just ask for it. Albert, you're a sweetheart.
You mean you're going to try it?
Try it and do it. Oh, baby, you're a lifesaver.
Well, what do you think is going on in Gus Jansen's clever brain? How do you think will Gus take advantage of Albert Dallow's simple suggestion? We'll learn tomorrow. So by all means, join us, won't you? It's 10 at night. 2 hours since Gus Jansen thought of a way in which he might learn what's behind this new search for Suzanne Barkley. More of Gus in a few moments. First, 50 miles north of the city, in the Ellenton Municipal Hospital.
The clerk said Paul's room was down here, Chief.
Yes, well, that's all she told us.
I hope he's all right.
Unless his room door's open.
What, Mr. Drake? You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, he's all right.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Can we see Mr. Drake?
You can if you want to.
Well, then he wasn't injured seriously.
No, just a cut on his head. Too bad he didn't break both arms. Oh, I'm just joking, you understand. I'll be very glad when Mr. Drake is up and out of the hospital, if you know what I mean.
We know Mr. Drake.
Then you know what I mean.
Hey, that you, beautiful?
Now, let's go in.
Stella. Hi, Perry.
Hi. How are you feeling?
Oh, very well for a man who had a narrow escape from death.
You don't look like you feel so bad.
Oh, it was a very near thing, Della.
No.
Stand close to me and hold my hand, will you, dear?
When are you getting out of here?
Well, the doctor says I could probably leave tomorrow afternoon, but I think I'll stay through the weekend, get a good rest, catch up on my reading. I'll have my nurse read to me. Say, Perry, I'll call my office in the morning and send a good man up to Smithville.
No, unless Maury Cohen is available.
Maury's out of town, but I got another good man.
No, Paul. We've taken great pains to work in secrecy. If the other side learns how close we are to finding Suzanne Barkley...
Don't you trust my man?
Frankly, no. Not in such a delicate matter.
Well, I'll make a special effort and get out of the hospital tomorrow.
Tomorrow afternoon?
Uh-huh.
It isn't soon enough. Oh, I'll do it myself.
You've got appointments, Perry.
Well, phone Gertie and have her break them. What shape is your car in, Paul?
Front end smashed up, which is a very lucky thing. I'll have the insurance company buy me a new one. Why?
Well, I hate to cloud your happiness, Paul.
Are you strong enough to bear a little unpleasant news? Maybe you shouldn't tell him, Perry.
What are you guys talking about?
Didn't it occur to you that we might be worried about you, Paul?
Well, yes, naturally. Very near thing.
Perry was so concerned he didn't notice the little thing on the dashboard.
The what?
The oil tank or something. I don't know, something under the hood of the car.
You mean the motor?
No, they left the plug and the oil pan loose when they changed the oil. I didn't notice the oil pressure had dropped until it was too late.
Oh, it's too bad. Hurt the engine?
Yes. They're working on it in the all-night garage, but they won't have it ready before morning.
Well, it's only 50 miles to Smithville. Spend the night here and drive up in the morning.
This is if we'll have to.
Well. If it isn't my little nursey.
It certainly is.
Now, Mr. Drake, I have to put a new dressing on your poor hurt head.
That's swell.
First, I have to shave a little of your head so that the adhesive tape will stick.
Nursey, you're the prettiest barber I ever saw.
Now, you'll be very still while I'm changing the dressing, won't you, Mr. Drake?
Oh, sure.
Because if you aren't still, the razor is liable to slip and I may cut you. I'm almost certain I'll cut you if you aren't very, very still.
Now, is that a nice way to talk to a sick man?
All right, let's go, Della.
Are you going to desert me with this wild woman armed with a razor?
You want anything, Paul? Magazine?
No, I'll just talk to Nursey here.
Now, Mr. Drake? Mr. Drake!
Meanwhile, here in the city, in the palatial residence of J.T. Doherty, boss of the huge crime syndicate.
You wait here, Albert. I want to see J.T. alone.
I just got back, J.T.
It's about time. You see that woman?
Well, I saw her, but the fact is she doesn't work for the police department anymore.
So you failed.
Oh, wait a minute. You're going to give Albert a big, juicy bonus, J.T.
What?
Albert came up with the answer while you and I were chasing ourselves in circles. He suggested I just ask for the information.
Ask for it?
Yeah, just ask for it. Of course, I can't do it quite that simply, but his idea made me think of something. You know what I've been doing for 2 hours, J.T.?
Oh.
I've been arranging things so Mr. Donald Wallace left his home and went to his office. I mean, Mr. Donald Wallace, who's board chairman of National Indemnity Insurance Company. Suzanne Barclay's uncle.
Why'd you want him out of the house, Otis?
Because his sister is Suzanne's mother. I want to be certain she's alone when I call her on the phone.
Oh, good.
You like it?
Yes. You ready to phone her?
Yes. May I use your phone, J.T.?
By all means, my boy. Go right ahead.
Wallace residence.
Oh, this is Dr. Edwards. May I speak to Mrs. Barclay, please?
Oh, I believe Mrs. Barclay is retired.
Well, it's important. Tell her it's in connection with Suzanne.
Oh, yes, at once, sir.
Who is that?
Servant.
Hello?
Hello, Mrs. Barclay. My name is Edwards, Dr. Edwards.
Did you say you know something about Suzanne?
Oh, please, let me explain, Mrs. Barclay. My daughter is Helen Edwards.
Who did you say?
Helen. Surely Suzanne's spoken to you of Helen. My daughter went to boarding school with Suzanne.
Yes, I seem to remember.
Yes, the girls were fast friends at school. My wife and I deeply appreciated Helen's friendship with Suzanne. Our Helen is a shy girl who doesn't make friends easily. Frankly, Helen was miserable at school until Suzanne took her under her wing, so to speak. It really meant a great deal to my wife and I because Suzanne was the most popular girl in school.
She had many friends.
Yes, indeed. Yet she was a sweet girl, a perfect little lady.
You know Suzanne?
Well, Helen introduced her mother and me to your daughter, Mrs. Barclay. I can't tell you how we sympathize with you at this time.
Then you know what happened.
Well, I didn't. I didn't see a word in the papers.
Oh, we kept it out of the papers.
Oh. Yes, the first I knew was that police circular.
Circular?
Yes. Apparently the police have sent circulars to all physicians in the city. I do wish I could help you, Mrs. Barclay. Why, my wife and I feel a sense of personal loss.
That's very kind of you, Doctor.
You can imagine how you must feel. Have they given you any encouragement at all?
Well, we're hopeful.
You're a courageous woman, Mrs. Barclay. I'm sure I don't know if I would be so brave. It makes me shudder to think of my daughter hiding. But how on earth will the police go about finding her, Mrs. Barclay?
I know very little of their methods, Doctor.
I don't see how they can hope to find one person in all these millions of people. They believe she's here in the city, do they not?
Why,
Well, judging from the police circulars to physicians in the city. I don't mean to pry, Mrs. Barclay, but as I say, my wife and I feel we have a personal interest. I hoped you could tell me something to assure my wife. Just
some word that the police are making progress. You see, my wife isn't well. She suffered a nervous breakdown last year, and she broods. Things disturb her. She can't sleep. It was stupid of me to tell her about Suzanne's disappearance.
Well, I'm not at liberty to reveal details, Doctor, but yes, they are making progress. They believe Suzanne is in Smithville.
Smithville, you say?
Yes, it's upstate.
So I believe I know where it is, Mrs. Barclay.
And if she is, it's a small town. We should be able to find her more easily.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mrs. Barclay.
This is in the strictest confidence, Doctor.
I understand. And I won't repeat it, except to my wife. Goodbye, Mrs. Barclay.
The girl in Smithville?
They think so. I'm going up there.
You'll have to hurry.
I'll hurry. I'll find her first, J.T. I know what to do then. You agree I'll have to?
Yes. Be careful, August.
Sure. And I'll do it right. I'm going to do the thing I do best, J.T. I'll let you know when I get it done.
Well, as you just heard, Albert Dallow's simple suggestion gave Gus an idea which has paid off. Now, through no fault of Perry Mason's, Gus Jansen could get ahead of him. Gus Jansen could win the grim race to Suzanne Barclay. By all means, join us on Monday, won't you? It's almost midnight, sometime after the close of our last episode, as clouds gather in the black sky over the town of Ellington, and rain starts to fall on the town, on the banks of old snow lining its streets, on the rambling frame structure of its hotel, where, until now, Della Street has been asleep. But now the sound of rain invades her sleep. Her pleasant dream becomes a nightmare, and suddenly Della awakes, stares at the strange room, then gets out of bed, slips on her robe, and a moment later, in his own room, Perry Mason hears...
Perry? Perry?
Della?
Are you awake?
What? What's the matter, Della?
Nothing. Perry, can you talk to me for a minute?
Talk to you? Just a minute.
Perry?
I'm coming, Della. I'm trying to find my robe. Della, what is it? Oh, here, come in under the hall.
Awfully sorry I woke you up. I had a dream.
A dream?
Yes, it was a bad dream, and I woke up in that strange room, and it was raining, and... Well, I said I'm sorry.
Well, me too.
Oh, I'll go out so you can go back to sleep.
No, I meant that I'm sorry it's raining. Cigarette?
Yes, please.
Now, was it a real bad dream?
Yes, it was.
Well, then you'd better tell me.
I dreamed a man was chasing me through the rain. You know how it is in a dream when something as terrible is after you and you try to run, your feet are like lead.
Yes, Della.
Well, he didn't have a face. I knew who he was. He was Gus.
You dreamed Gus chased you?
Yes, just as he's chasing Suzanne Barclay. Perry, I was so frightened.
Now, wait, Della, wait. You don't know that Gus is still searching for her.
No, but if he is, and if she knows, how frightened that poor girl must be. What I don't understand is why would I have a dream like that?
Oh, lots of explanation. Maybe you were lonely in strange surroundings and you wanted a good excuse to come down and have a cigarette with me.
Well, now, that's ridiculous. Yes, maybe I did.
Now, you think you can sleep now?
Yes. Thanks for the cigarette, Chief.
I'll walk back with you.
No, thanks.
Well, good night, Della.
Good night, Perry. Thanks for unscaring me.
Well, as you know, Gus Jansen is searching for Suzanne Barclay. And through no fault of Mason's, Gus is ahead.
A few moments ago, Gus arrived in Smithville, started to go to a hotel, but noticing the all-night restaurant attached to the bus terminal,
I'll be with you as soon as I finish stacking these plates.
Have a ham on rye and a cup of coffee. Have the coffee black, and I'll take it now.
You wait till I stack these plates.
All right, Mother, take your time.
Give me a ham on rye.
I'll take that coffee now.
Take it easy, young fellow. You'll live longer.
That's good advice, Mom.
I can always spot you fellows from the city.
Sharp as a tack, Mom. Hey, look, if you want to talk, go ask about my ham sandwich.
Well, he's fixing it. And if you don't want to talk, all you got to do is say so. That Liberty Gibbet were here, you'd want to talk.
Who?
Mona Fox. She comes to work at 12 o'clock. All the young fellows talk to Mona. I'm too old for such foolishness. Not Mona. She likes working the midnight to late shift. She likes to flirt with a salesman to come up on the city bus. Oh, I don't know what young girls are coming to nowadays.
Well, you were young once, Mom.
Oh, I was a good, home-loving girl, let me tell you. I didn't have to have excitement every night.
Like Mona? Do you like excitement?
She wouldn't keep her job if it wasn't exciting.
What? What's exciting?
Well, the late bus from the city. Comes in every night.
Oh.
No telling what'll get off that bus. Why, there was a fellow who called himself a diamond salesman. Mona told me about him. He promised to give her a diamond, but he never did. And I told that girl if she... Well, never mind what I told her. But anyway, there's drunks sometimes. And once there was a fugitive from justice.
Mom.
A real fugitive from justice. And Clarence, he's a patrolman. Clarence arrested him right there in the terminal. Mona saw the whole thing. And there was a fellow died on the bus one time. And they didn't know it until they tried to wake him up. Of course, they couldn't.
Why? Oh, yes. Now, Mom, look.
And there was that girl with a cut hand.
What did you say, Mom?
A girl with a bandage on her hand. She asked Mona whether there was a doctor. Why?
Oh, I guess there is excitement. When did the girl come here, Mom?
Oh, a year ago. Well, not a year ago. Sometime last fall.
Did you see her?
Look, you didn't listen to me, mister. She came on the city bus. That's on Mona's shift. Mona will be here any minute if you want to ask her. There she is now.
Where?
Oh, no. Mona walks from down that way, but that ain't Mona.
But skip the sandwich, Mom.
But your sandwich is almost ready.
Look, you eat it. Here, this will pay for it.
Well, I don't want the sandwich.
Oh, the great big beautiful breaks. There she is. Hello, Mona.
Hello. Who are you?
We've never met.
Well, and how do you know my name?
It doesn't really matter, does it? I do know who you are, and I'd like to speak to you for a moment.
Now? It's raining.
Yes, so it is, but we can step inside this door.
But I'll be late for work.
No, just for a moment.
And I don't know you. Can't even see your face.
Mona, I'm not free to tell you everything. But I can tell you this. Here's your chance to help me help a lovely young girl who's in danger. A girl as young and as lovely as yourself. Imagine yourself in danger, Mona.
Golly.
Just step here into the doorway.
Yeah? Hey, what about this girl?
Mona, this girl is beautiful. Not only beautiful, she had everything. Every advantage money can buy. Private schools, governesses.
And riding lessons? Did she get riding lessons?
Of course, my dear.
Oh.
But she met an evil man.
An evil man?
Oh, this fellow was handsome and amusing and romantic. But she felt she had to run away because of him. This lovely girl ran away in October. This lovely, romantic young girl left her wealthy home, left the comforts and ease of wealth, and disappeared. I think she came here to this city, my dear. I think she asked you for advice. I think she asked you for the name of a physician.
How did you know?
I was right.
I didn't say anything like that happened.
But it did happen, didn't it?
Well, maybe. I'm not saying it did. I'm not saying it didn't either. Where were you when your girlfriend got mixed up with this fellow?
Girlfriend, Mona. I shouldn't tell you this, Mona. I'm speaking of my sister.
Your sister?
You must understand, Mona.
This is all a deep secret. Millions are involved. Millions.
Gee, really?
So you see... Oh, but of course, you're a woman of the world. Of course you understand.
Of course.
Now, you recommended a doctor to her. Her hand was injured, you remember?
Why, sure. Your sister got off the city bus, and, she had a cup of tea. She didn't have anything else. She asked me if I knew a good doctor. Now I remember. She gave me a 50-cent tip. She only had a cup of tea.
You understand, money means nothing to her. What doctor did you send her to, my dear?
Well, old Dr. Rowe. We've always gone to Dr. Rowe. Can he help find your sister?
I hope so, my dear. Indeed, I hope so. But remember, I said my sister is pursued by an evil man.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to give you something as a reward. If you'll promise not to tell anyone what you told me. Here. Here is $200.
$200?
If you promise not to tell anyone else what you've told me.
$200? What? Not tell anyone? Oh, golly, no. I mean, even without the money. Gee, mister. Gee, I hope you find your sister.
Sometimes in the game of life, there seems to be such a thing as good luck. Sometimes good fortune seems to favor such an evil man as August Jansen. But the chase isn't over yet. You'll join us for tomorrow's important development, won't you? It's not yet 8 in the morning, the day following our last episode, as Perry Mason enters the town of Smithville.
Well, so this is Smithville. You made good time, Perry.
Yeah. It'll be an hour at least before we can start calling on doctors. Let us put that hour to good use. Come on.
Where?
Bus station.
Why the bus station?
Information. And it's highly possible that Suzanne Barkley came here by bus.
Good morning, bus station. Mr. Davis speaking. Oh, yes, ma'am. 1018.
Good morning, sir. Why, good morning. I would like some information, please.
Yes, sir.
When do your buses arrive from the city?
From the city? 2 a day, sir. One in the afternoon, that's the 4:20. Then one at midnight. 12:05, actually.
That would be the one.
Yes, probably. Well, we'll check train schedules, too.
I beg your pardon?
Where is the railroad station, please?
It's 2 blocks over on Grove Street. But perhaps I can save you a trip. I happen to know their schedule. Oh, not only do I know their schedule, but I'm more than happy to give you the information.
Thanks.
Oh, please don't mention it, sir. That's one thing about Smithville.
What thing?
It's called Friendly City. That's our motto. The Friendly City.
Why, that's very nice.
I think so.
Me too. When do trains arrive from the city?
Huh? Oh, yes. Well, there's just one train from the city. It gets in at 3 o'clock.
I see. Well, thank you. I won't take any more of your time.
Oh, I've plenty of time, sir, and I'm always eager to help a stranger.
Oh. Well, could you tell me something else? Are there any plants or factories where a stranger could get work easily?
Are you looking for a position?
No. A friend of ours, a young woman, came to Smithville several months ago. We're trying to locate her.
Oh, I see. Well, there's the stocking factory and the Smithville Pottery Works. You've heard of Smithville Pottery, haven't you?
Oh, yes, of course.
Now, if I could trouble you for the names of your night personnel.
Sir?
The people who are at work here in the terminal when the night bus gets in.
Oh, well, there's the night manager, Frank Stober, and the porter, Willie Bowman, and Mona Fox. She's waitress in the restaurant. Those 3 are about the only ones who'd see your friend.
Will they be on duty tonight?
Yes, sir. Only Mona don't come on till 12. She has the 12 to 8 shift.
Chief, it isn't 8 o'clock yet.
That's right, miss. You can talk to Mona now if you want. Look right through the window of the restaurant. That's her mopping.
What did you say?
She's supposed to be mopping the floor. But instead of that, she's mooning over those movie magazines. Come along. I'm going to speak to her. It's hard enough to get help, and when you do get them, you can't depend on them for one single thing. Just come over to the counter, sir.
Thank you.
Mona.
Did you speak to me, Mr. Davis?
I did. And you might put away the magazine so you can listen. Here, I'll put it back in the stand.
Not this one you won't. This one's mine. Bought and paid for with my own money, Mr. Davis.
All right. Now, Mona, the gentleman wants to ask you a few questions. Mona.
I hear you, Mr. Davis. You better let him ask his questions because it's almost 8 o'clock.
What about it?
I get off at 8 o'clock.
Not this morning. You haven't mopped the floor.
I got news for you, Mr. Davis. I'm not going to mop the floor.
What?
Not this morning or any other morning.
Now, see here.
You better be careful what you say, Mr. Davis. It wouldn't take much to make me walk right out of that door and not come back.
Are you sick?
I feel all right. But if you want to know the truth, I'm sick of Smithville.
Sick? Of Smithville?
That's the truth, Mr. Davis. And something else, Mr. Davis. I've been thinking of taking a trip.
You have?
So don't you fuss at me or I will go away. I could spend a week in the city. I got enough money to spend at least a week in the city.
Where did you get that kind of money? Well, we'll speak of your sudden good fortune at a later date. Just now, put away the magazine and answer the nice gentleman's questions.
I'll answer him until 8 o'clock, and then I'm going home, Mr. Davis.
Well, this won't take long.
Oh, I have to get back to my cage.
Yes. Well, thanks for your help, Mr. Davis.
It was a pleasure and a privilege, sir. I'll speak to you later, Mona.
Not after 8 o'clock, you won't. What do you want to ask me?
Well, it's a very important matter, Miss.
Uh-huh. Another one of those surveys?
Oh, no, not a survey.
No?
No, and it's more important than I can tell you, so I would appreciate your putting away your magazine and...
Well, I'm just looking at the pictures. I can listen to you and look at the pictures at the same time.
Chief, I'd like a cup of coffee, wouldn't you?
Why, yes. Could we trouble you for a cup of coffee, please, miss?
All right. So what's your question?
Well, we're trying to locate a young lady.
What?
A young lady. She's about your age.
Well, how come you're asking me? I don't know any...
Well, you may have seen her because we think that she took the bus from the city to Smithville. This was in late October.
Well, I don't know why you're asking me. Hundreds of people go through here, thousands of people. Well, what's her name?
She wouldn't have used her correct name, but you might remember her because her right hand was bandaged. Oh, be careful. You'll drop the cream.
I gotta go. It isn't 8 o'clock yet. Yes, it is. Your watch is slow. It is 8 o'clock. And I told Mr.
Oh, no, wait,
Davis...
Miss...
No, sir, not another minute. I'm going home right now.
Well, Ella, am I mistaken? Or is that girl frightened?
I don't think she's frightened. What would frighten her?
I have no idea. Unless I'm wrong, she is frightened.
Oh, now, Perry, she said she was going home promptly at 8 o'clock. All she's interested in is her movie magazine.
What did you say, Della?
She's just interested in her movie magazine.
Well, take a look at this.
Well, that's her magazine.
Yes. She was so scared she forgot her magazine. I don't know why, Della, but she is afraid. So let's go find out why.
As you know, Mona is afraid because August Jansen talked to her last night, posed as Suzanne Barkley's brother, told Mona that his sister is pursued by an evil man. Now, in his room in Smithville's leading hotel, August Jansen watches the bellboy clear away his breakfast dishes.
Is there anything else, sir?
I believe not, thank you. It was a good breakfast. Now, here, this is for you.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Not at all. I appreciate good service. I'm willing to pay for it. For example, I need a bright and trustworthy young man to run an errand for me this morning. Have you a suggestion?
Why not let me do it for you?
Think you'll have time?
Oh, yes, sir. I have lots of time after breakfast. You just tell me what you want, mister.
Well, I want you to go and make a purchase for me. I'll give you $25 for the service if you'll give me your solemn vow to keep it a secret.
Secret?
Yes, because I'm going to play a joke. A practical joke, you understand.
Well, I guess so.
Well, let me explain. I have a friend, you see, and I want to play a joke on her.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in order to play the trick, I must make certain preparations, and I must move in absolute secrecy.
Oh, sure, I can understand that.
Of course you can. Will you promise never to reveal what you're about to do for me?
Well, excuse me for asking, but there's nothing wrong about this, is there?
Wrong? Of course not, my boy. I want to play a joke, and when I do, my friend will laugh louder than anyone. Oh, how she will laugh.
Well, sure, I'll do it, mister. $25, you said?
If you promise.
Your word of honor, mister. I'll never tell anybody.
Good. Now then, close the door, my boy.
Okay. Yes, sir?
When do the stores open? 9 o'clock?
Well, most of them are open by 8:30.
Good. I see in your phone book there's a costume shop located near the university.
Yes, sir. I know where it is.
Now, do you think you can take a taxi out there, make a purchase or two for me, and return by 9 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Now, very well. I want 2 items. First, a pair of heavy, dark glasses. Very dark, you understand. And then I want a good false mustache. Notice the color of my hair.
I got it.
My boy, I promise you, my friend will die laughing. Now, suppose you repeat what I told you so I know you understand.
Well, what do you think August Jansen is up to? And what do you think is up Perry Mason's sleeve? There'll be action and excitement in the immediate future. So by all means, join us tomorrow, won't you?
It's early morning, immediately after the close of our last episode. As in the town of Smithville, Perry Mason waits outside the bus terminal restaurant, watches a pretty girl leave the employee's exit. Now, as she hurries away...
Quickly, Della.
She is in a hurry.
Well, she is frightened. Oh, Miss.
What do you mean following me? Let me alone. Wait, I'm going to yell for a policeman. I'm going to yell this minute.
Don't be afraid, Mona.
You go away and leave me alone. I haven't done anything to you.
We only want to ask you a few questions.
You want to hurt me. You want to take my money. I'm going to call a policeman.
All right, go ahead.
What?
There's an officer right there on the corner. Go ahead, yell.
You want me to call him?
Look, Mona, I don't want to hurt you. And I don't want your money. I do want to know why you ran away when I asked you about the girl who came in on the city bus.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The girl whose hand was bandaged.
You don't have any right to ask me questions.
Well, you will learn differently if we speak to the policeman. And, Mona, either you start talking, or I'll call him. If I have to go to the police to make you talk, then you may lose your money.
What money?
The money you got recently. Very recently. The money which makes you feel so independent you almost quit your job a moment ago. The money you were paid not to answer questions about that girl. You were paid to keep silent.
I knew it. I knew you wanted my money.
For the last time, you can keep it. If you talk. But get busy, or we will call the police.
It was her brother. Her brother spoke to me last night, and he said a man was after her. He gave me $200 not to tell.
Not to tell what?
I don't know if I ought to tell you. Maybe you're the man he was talking about.
Mona, you spoke to the man who was after her.
No. I talked to her brother.
She doesn't have a brother.
What?
She doesn't have a brother. The man lied to you. He's the man she's running from.
But he said... How do I know you're telling me the truth?
No, you don't. But the police will convince you. All right, Ella, we've wasted enough time.
What are you going to do?
Call the police. I'll keep Mona with me, Della, while you get the police officer.
Wait a minute. Can't you give a girl time to make up her mind?
No, we have no time to waste. Go ahead, Della.
Wait. All right. I'll tell you it. It really isn't much to tell.
Let's have it.
Well, the girl's hand was hurt. She had a bandage on it. She got off the city bus, you see, and came in the restaurant and got a cup of tea. It was after midnight. Well, she wanted the name of a good doctor.
Did you call him that night?
No. Old Dr. Rowe doesn't take night calls anymore.
Who?
Dr. Rowe. Is he on our list?
Yes. And he's one of the doctors we didn't talk to, Chief.
Where are you taking me?
Into the drugstore. Now, Mona, What about this man who claims to be her brother? What does he look like? Is he tall, short, young, old?
Gee, I don't know. He spoke to me on the street, seeing his hat was pulled down. He's young, I guess. I remember he's tall. And he talks nice. You know, polite.
Stop here by the phone booth. Now, that's all you told him? What you told us?
That's all I know. She asked for a doctor, and I told her.
All right. Give me Dr. Rowe's number. Stella?
Here you are, Chief.
All right, Mona, you can go home.
Yeah? Goodbye, mister.
You just going to let her go?
We can find her when we want her. And right now, I have... Oh, nurse, may I speak to Dr. Rowe, please? Oh, I see. Well, where can I reach him? I see. Well, when do you expect him at his office? I see. All right, thank you. Yes, I'll be there. His nurse says he won't be in for an hour, so we have time. Now, look, Della. Go in the other phone booth. Phone Paul Drake at Ellington Hospital. Tell him where to meet us. And meanwhile, I'll phone Halverson, and then we'll wait for Dr. Rowe in his office.
Well, as you know, it was August Jansen who posed as Suzanne Barclay's brother. And at this very moment, Gus Jansen is continuing his masquerade. For now, Gus approaches the door to Dr. Rowe's office.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, nurse. I'd like to see Dr. Rowe, if you please.
Yes, sir. Have you spoken with Doctor?
Well, I tried to phone him last night. It was late, however.
Oh, Doctor doesn't take night calls anymore.
I see. Well, I must see him. When will he be in?
Oh, not for an hour.
It's a long time. I want to talk to him, miss. It's very important.
I'm sorry, but he's making house calls.
Well, can you reach him?
In a medical emergency, but I wouldn't think of disturbing him for anything else. You're from the city, aren't you?
You say that because I'm impatient?
Well, city people are usually in a hurry.
Don't you think emergencies and young women in danger, that can occur anywhere?
Well, yes, sir. Danger, you said?
Yes. There isn't a moment to lose. Does he keep up-to-date records of patients who call at his office?
Certainly he does.
Then perhaps you can help me save time. Miss, a young woman came in to see Dr. Rowe for medical treatment on the morning of October 29th. I must find that girl.
Find her?
I've been searching for months. She's in hiding, using an assumed name. I traced her to this office. Now, you say Dr. Rowe has a record of her visit.
Oh, yes, it
Well,
is.
something on that record might give me a clue to her whereabouts. I must see it. Wait, she wasn't using her real name. Will you have to search the files to find it?
Oh, no. The files are cross-indexed according to date and name.
So all we have to check are the records for October 29th.
Yes, but...
Well, there shouldn't be many. I'll be able to tell hers by her physical description.
But, Mr... What's your name?
Oh, Barclay.
I couldn't possibly show you the records, Mr. Barclay. Not until I got Doctor's permission.
This is important.
But I just couldn't do it. Why...
Miss, if I remove these dark glasses, you see my eyes are red and swollen.
Oh?
I've been trying to find this girl for months. I'd fall asleep exhausted, only to start to awaken, driven by the need to find her. I'm sorry.
She must mean a lot to you.
My sister does mean a great deal to me.
Oh, your sister.
Remember I spoke of danger.
Yes, sir.
I referred to a man who made my sister run away.
Oh.
That man is pursuing her. If he finds her before I do, can't you help me help my sister? At least do this.
Yes, sir.
At least get the records from the files and have them ready for Dr. Rowe when he arrives.
Well, I can't do that.
I don't ask to see them. Just get them from the files. It will save a little time.
All right, Mr. Barclay, but you understand I can't let you see them.
I understand. Will you get them now, please, in case Dr. Rowe returns earlier than you think?
All right. The files are in Doctor's private office. I'll have to ask you to wait in here.
Yes, of course. I deeply appreciate your helping me. as I know my sister would appreciate it. I'll just wait in here while you get the records.
It won't take long.
Good. Oh, nurse, as soon as you find them, you will come back. I don't like to be alone. Talking helps to pass the time. You will come back.
As soon as I put the records on Doctor's desk.
Thank you. Put the records on his desk, and then we'll talk.
Well, as you know, the name August Jansen gave to the nurse is just as false as the mustache disguising his face. As false as his claim that he wants to help Suzanne Barkley. Be sure to hear tomorrow's important and dramatic development, won't you? It's early morning, immediately after the close of our last episode. As in the office of a Smithville doctor, August Jansen crosses the waiting room on tiptoe, stands listening at the inner office door. At this very moment, not even the dark glasses over his eyes or the false mustache disguising his mouth can hide the naked menace on Gus Jansen's face. But the criminal's voice is pleasant as he calls to the nurse.
Oh, nurse,
Yes, sir.
you find the records?
I've just finished.
You found all of them?
All the records for October 29th.
And you put them on the doctor's desk?
Why, yes. I wish I could let you see them, Mr. Barkley.
I ask you to reconsider, nurse. It's a matter of life and death.
Yes, sir, you explained, and I'm awfully sorry for your sister.
Think of that young girl. Think of her running for her life. I must find my sister and help her. I beg of you.
Please, Mr. Barkley, won't you sit down and wait?
I'm too concerned to sit quietly and wait.
Only until Doctor comes. Won't you?
Won't you change your mind?
Please don't keep asking me. I just can't let you.
All right. I won't ask you again.
Thank you, sir. Now, won't you sit down or wait outside? Don't you want to wait outside?
No, it's more comfortable in here.
There's a coffee shop downstairs. They serve very good coffee. My husband and I eat breakfast there every morning. You'll have time before the doctor gets here.
Well, that's just the point, you see. I don't want to wait.
Only a little while. My husband...
Yes?
Nothing.
You mentioned your husband. You mentioned him twice. Why?
I just thought about him.
Because you're frightened? You look frightened.
But I'm not.
What's over there?
You mean that door?
Yes, what's on the other side of it?
That's the laboratory.
Show me.
No.
Please, I want to see it. I'll just take your elbow.
Don't hurt me.
I merely want to see the laboratory. Now open it.
No.
And I will, in a moment. Now don't move.
Gloves. You're putting on gloves.
Now then. So it is. Laboratory.
Where are you going to...
Well, I'm going to let you wait in here while I look at the records.
No, Mr. Barkley. Oh, no!
Yes, you'll wait in here. Here they are on his desk. Of course, the little fool didn't use her right name. Wait a minute, this must be it. Age 19, weight 115, height 5 feet. Yes, that's Suzanne Barkley. What name is she using? Sarah Burke. I'll take all of them. She's still unconscious. Now, let me see why. Yes. Gas jets. Just turn on the gas jets. All of them. Yes. Close the window tightly. That should do nicely. Now then. Somebody's coming. Dr. Rowe?
Yes?
You want to see me?
Why, yes, sir.
Oh, good. Just wait till I get my coat off and wash up. Where's Mrs. Barrow?
Whom did you say, Doctor?
My nurse. Where is she?
Oh, your nurse. She said that you weren't expected for almost an hour.
I didn't expect to come myself, but I got 2 calls last night. My wife didn't tell me till this morning about them.
2 calls?
Yes, 2 calls. My wife doesn't like it when I accept night calls anymore. Says I'm getting old.
Let me help you with your coat, Doctor.
I'm not that old. Where is Mrs. Barrow?
Well, she mentioned having a headache.
She what?
A headache. She asked me to wait. She went downstairs to a coffee shop for coffee.
She never has headaches. You sure she said headache?
Yes. Doctor, I made one of those calls to your home last night. I'm a stranger in town. I asked someone at my hotel to recommend a doctor, and they suggested you.
Oh.
You know who made the other call, Doctor?
I can't see how it concerns you.
I beg your pardon, sir. Actually, my remark was meaningless. I didn't sleep a wink last night. I've been having difficulties with my eyes.
Oh, your eyes?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the vision is blurred in one of them.
Well, you've come to the wrong place, young fella. I'm not an ophthalmologist.
A what?
An eye doctor. Well, I'll be glad to examine your eyes, but I'd advise you not to waste any time if you're having...
That's always good advice, Doctor.
Well, I'll send you to a good eye man, Patton. He's in the Medical Arts building.
Thanks, but I won't take any more of your time, Doctor.
Mrs. Barrow's in the coffee shop, you say?
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Doctor.
Wait, I'll recommend an eye... young man in a hurry. I don't understand Hilda's having a headache. I don't understand her going away, leaving a patient alone in the office. There's aspirin here. She can make coffee in the laboratory if she wants. This is Dr. Rowe. Let me speak to Mrs. Barrow, please. My nurse, Hilda Barrow. She and her husband eat breakfast every morning, and you... All right, if you know who she is, call her to the phone. She just left? For when? No? Were you sure about that? Yes, all right. Thank you. No, it's not all right. Something's haywire.
Oh, Dr. Rowe?
I'm Dr. Rowe.
My name is Perry Mason. I'm an attorney. My secretary, Miss Street.
Hello, Doctor.
Well, how do you do? You phoned me long distance from the city last night.
Yes, sir, that's right. We were told you weren't available until today.
There's my wife's order. She won't let me take night calls. Says I'm getting old.
I see. Well, I'm sorry to disturb you at all, sir, but I do need your help.
Well, I'll have to do what I can, Mr. Mason. I know your reputation.
Well, thank you, sir. Doctor, we're trying to trace a young woman who has disappeared.
Oh, so am I.
What, Doctor?
My nurse walked out of my office. Left a patient alone in here.
Who was the patient she left alone here, Doctor?
I never saw him before in my life. He was a stranger.
Stranger?
Mean anything to you?
Yes, it's possible. Doctor, we have been trying, in cooperation with the police, to find a young woman named Suzanne Barclay. We believe that she came here to this city. We believe that she came to you for treatment.
What makes you think that?
Well, it's a long story, sir, and I'd rather keep it as simple as possible. However, Miss Barclay is being searched for not only by us and by the police. You see, she ran away because she had become involved with a dangerous criminal. He's a member of a huge crime syndicate.
Know him?
Only that he is called Gus. This man is a key member of the syndicate. He's smart. But crooks, of course, are never smart all the way. He made a mistake when he let Miss Barclay learn his real identity. Now, we are certain that this man, Gus, is also now looking for Suzanne Barclay. If he finds her before we do, he'll make absolutely certain she never talked.
In other words, he'll kill her.
Yes. And Gus knows that Suzanne came to you, Doctor. That man who was in your office could be Gus.
I didn't like his looks.
Did he talk to you? What's the matter, Don?
Something smells funny.
Oh, I don't smell anything. He skedaddled out of here fast as he could, Mr. Mason.
Well, he must have talked to your nurse.
Well, he said he did.
Did he say anything else?
Well, now, let me think of it. Where's my pipe tobacco? I always think better with a pipe stuck in my face. Oh, yes, here it is. Wait a minute till I get fired up here. Now, where's the match?
Do you smell gas leaking, Perry?
Oh, here we are. I don't mind telling you, I'm getting worried about Mrs. Barrow. In fact, I'm beginning to wonder...
Don't strike that match, Doctor.
What?
Don't light a match. Are there any gas jets in this office, Doctor?
In my laboratory.
Is the laboratory this way?
It says through that door.
Be careful, Perry. What is it? Oh, the nurse.
Yes, the nurse. Stella, give me a hand. Quickly. Hurry, Doctor.
Well, Perry Mason discovered the unconscious nurse, perhaps in time to save her life. But August Jansen got what he wanted from the doctor's office. And will Mason be in time to forestall Jansen? By all means, hear tomorrow's exciting development.